Gita. It's chapter 3, verse number 30. I'll request everybody, we have it displayed on the big screen. Kindly repeat after me. Vai sarvani karmani Sanyāsadhyātma cetasa Nirāshir nirmamo bhūtva Yuddhasva vigata jvaraha Vai sarvani karmani Sanyāsadhyātma cetasa Nirāshir nirmamo bhūtva Yuddhasva vigata jvara Vai sarvani karmani Sanyāsadhyātma cetasa Translation. Vai sarvani karmani Sanyāsadhyātma cetasa Anybody else? Mataji's?
Vai sarvani karmani
Sanyāsadhyātma cetasa Nirāshir nirmamo bhūtva We'll go straight to the translation and everybody can please repeat. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with mind intent on me, and without desire for gain, and free from egoism, and lethargy, fight. Or put. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. I would like everybody to please repeat after me. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Sri Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute the order, execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Cetasa. Nirashi means one who is Nirasha means that one has to act on the order of the master, nor should one ever expect fruitive results. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of mine, or unto me. And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called nirmama, or nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration of so-called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become vigata jvara, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. Om Jnanatirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, this third chapter that we have been discussing and we are discussing today and will be discussing in the following classes also. What is it entitled? Karma Yoga. Karma everybody knows, right? Activities, performing your activities, doing work. And what does yoga mean? Yoga in its essence, there are so many interpretations of yoga, but in its essence, yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuj. Yuj means to connect, to unite. So, connect what to what? Connect the Jivatma to the supreme-most of all Atmas, Lord Shri Krishna. That is yoga. That's the perfection of yoga. Yoga can be performed at various different levels. That's good, but it's not best. Perfection of yoga is this. So that's why we see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about karma yoga. How your karma, your activities, if you know how to perform them, it can connect you. It can unite you back to Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Dhyan yoga. If you know how to perform Dhyan yoga, Ashtanga yoga, then that ultimately should connect you again. Yoga means connect you to the Supreme Lord. Bhakti yoga. Through devotion, through devotional service, one can be connected to the Supreme Lord. So at the end of the day, whichever form of yoga one may be practicing, the purpose is this only one. The perfection of that yoga is that it should bring you to this platform of connecting you to the Supreme Lord. So this is the first platform that Krishna is talking about in Bhagavad Gita. For some of you who have been coming regular for the classes, chapter 2 was just a summary where Krishna spoke so much. He spoke about practically everything. He just summarized what he's going to be speaking in the following chapters. As they say, who's a good speaker? A good speaker is one who first speaks what he's going to speak. Then he speaks. And then how does he end? He summarizes what he spoke. That's a good speaker. So, Krishna is the best, right? When we say everything comes from Krishna, this principle also comes from Krishna. This is how he spoke the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 2, he just gave you everything that I'm going to talk about. Chapter 3, he starts talking. First topic, Karma Yoga. So, before we dive into this verse, what I'd like to do is give you a background of from where Krishna has brought us onto this verse. Because as we saw in the purport, what is the first line of the purport? What does Prabhupada write? This verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. Can you imagine that means how important this verse is? This verse he's saying is this is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. So let us first do a bit of a background from where Krishna has brought us here. Because some of you all may not have attended all the classes and sometimes we attend and there's a bit of disconnect. So let's do a very quick recap from where Krishna brought us here. Chapter 3 starts. Arjuna asks a question to Krishna. What is the question? He says, Krishna, what is best? To act, to perform my duty, or to give up everything and go away, either in the forest or to Himalayas or something? What is better of the two? And how does Krishna start? The first section of chapter 3, Krishna establishes, he explains to Arjuna, Arjuna, work you must. You must work. There's no option. There's no two thoughts that you can give up work and go away to the forest. No. Rather, he says that a person who artificially just gives up everything, and goes away into the forest or, I'm not going to do anything, closes his eyes and... What does Krishna call that person? A mithyachar. He says that person is a pretender. Sometimes Krishna can be very heavy also. He says he's a pretender. You can't, and he gives a reason. He says the nature of the soul is to be active. Analyze, See, externally we can close our eyes, close our ears, close our... from India, you'll have, some of you who are from India, you'll have seen those 3 monkeys. Right? What are the 3 monkeys? One monkey is doing like this. One monkey is doing this. And one monkey is doing this. Krishna is explaining, externally you can close your eyes, close your ears, close your mouth, but internally, the mind is at work, right? The intellect is at work. He says that's pretension, don't do it. He says it's not possible. The nature of the soul is to be active. In the beginning of the chapter, in verse 5, he says, Nahi kaschit shanam api. Shanam ka matlab, what is the meaning of shanam? One shan, one moment. He says it's not even possible for a moment for a person jatu tishtati akarma. Akarma means not doing any activity. Not even for a moment, he says, you can be inactive. Work you must. So that's the first thing he establishes in this chapter, first section. Arjuna, work you must. Now before we go to the next section, let me explain something about how and why somebody works. Why do we perform an activity? Any activity, be it material or spiritual. What drives us into performing an activity? Our desires, right? You desire something to acquire, to do something, to get something. So, based on that desire, you perform an activity. Now, if you analyze, in the world around us, there are 2 extremes of philosophies, you can say, which teach us or which show us how to perform activities to acquire these desires. One extreme is which is practically, I would say, 99.9% of the world around us. What is this one extreme? Perform your activities, fulfill your desires. How? In the most crude term I would put it, shamelessly. You all have heard of this English term? By hook or by crook. Don't think. You want this. You want to become CEO of a company. You want to become a prime minister of a country. You want to become a president of a country. Hack it. Do whatever you can. Get it. Everybody agrees? In today's world, we are talking of today's world. Let's not talk of other yugas. That's one extreme. Shamelessness. Just do it. Get it. Right? And what is the other extreme? There is another extreme also. Not very big percentage, but quite a prominent percentage. Where you have the very orthodox religionist, call it fanatic or whatever, they put this person into a state of guilt. You have this desire. How can you think of it also? Don't even think of it. They make you feel guilty. Now try to understand, it's natural. Nature is so strong, material energy, Krishna says, is so powerful. They make you feel guilty even of the desire, what to talk of acting on it and fulfilling it, right? So you have that one category also. And because material energy is so strong, she's anyway going to make you do it. Even if you see people feel guilty and yet they do it. And generally if you'll analyze this person from guilt, he will glide down to shamelessness. He'll give up. He'll say, forget all this going to temple and whenever I go this Prabhuji keeps talking. It's better not to. So from guilt you will come down to the other extreme, shamelessness. Just do it. Everybody agrees? These two extremes are there. What does Krishna do? Krishna says, good, you have desires, you are going to perform activities to fulfill those desires. That's not a problem. The problem is how you perform your activities to fulfill those desires. What I will do, Krishna says, I'll give you a middle path. A middle path, not shamelessness, not adharmic, and not this path also where you feel guilty. Don't feel guilty. You have desires. Good. There's a way of fulfilling those desires which I'm going to give you. And in the second section of this chapter, he gives us that. What is that? He says, Yagyarthat karmano. Do all your karmas, do all your activities. There's no problem with that. Bring in this aspect of what? Yagya. Now see, unfortunately, we don't have the understanding of yagya. You know, the first thing what comes to our mind when we talk of yagya? Fire sacrifice. You know, there will be a pond, and then you'll have this Om Swaha. Right? Our understanding of yagya is that. Sacrifice is that. That is a very preliminary understanding. Sacrifice means what? Sacrifice means when you are ready to let go for somebody else. Now you start thinking beyond yourself. See, in these two cases, it's only me and mine. Janasya mohoyam aham mama me and mine. That's all. You can't think beyond that. But Krishna is telling you, go one step ahead. Now come out of your, this me and mine and live for somebody else. Sacrifice. Sacrifice could be in many ways. If you have a lot of money, give others. You have time, give time for others. Some resources, some energy. You're a very good cook. You can come and cook. You can, in whatever way you can. He brings in this element of sacrifice. And he says that this sacrifice is an integral part of at least human society. A person must perform sacrifice. And in that section, he refers to sacrifice or yajna to whom? To demigods. He says, you must. You are getting so much from the demigods, you are getting everything. For everything you are dependent on them. And you say, no, I don't want to give anything. Rather, he goes to the extent of saying that a person who does not reciprocate to the demigods, from whom he is getting everything, what does Krishna call that person? Sthena. He says he's a thief. Right? In material world also, right? If you're getting all the time and you're not, what if you don't pay our taxes? Right? It's tax time. IRS is going to come after you, correct? So he brings in this element of yajna, sacrifice. Let's live for others. Let's give for others. That point he says sacrifice means for demigods. Okay. Now we've come from one platform to the second platform. First platform was what? Where this person is performing activities either shamelessly or with guilt, primarily for himself. So what is the purpose of his performing these activities? His gratification. Totally. It could be sensual gratification, mental gratification, intellectual, but gratification is the driving force. But when this yajna aspect comes in, sacrifice aspect comes in anyone's life, Krishna explains, from gratification it gets transformed to what? Purification. Now purification starts. You start getting purified. So what happens when you are continuously performing these acts of sacrifice and you are getting purified, you are getting purified, you are getting purified? You come to a state when you are totally purified. Right? Obviously, if you keep purifying yourself at some stage, you will get totally purified. So now the question is, when a person is totally purified, Krishna refers to that person as a self-realized soul, right? What about that stage? Do I give up activities? Now why should I? Initially I was performing activity for self-gratification, then I was performing for purification, now I am totally purified, so why should I act? Right? Krishna says, no. Even at that state, the self-realized soul also continues to perform activities. Why does he perform activities? What does he need now? He's totally purified. He performs activity now for a different purpose. What is that purpose? Yagyadacharati shreshtas tat evataro janaha. He says to set an example. This person will continue to perform his duties even though he doesn't need to. Exemplification. Is it making sense? First was, see from where Krishna brought us, sense gratification, me and mine, I can't think outside that. Then he brought us to a platform of purification. And now he's saying in the purified state also, you must perform your activities. Now for others, to set this example, achar, exemplification. And he gives wonderful examples. Janak Maharaj. And do you know what is the next example he gives after Janak Maharaj? Whose example he gives? Himself. God, Bhagavan. He says, Arjuna, what duty, what am I supposed to do? He's God. He can just sit and enjoy. He says, no. Even though I'm not supposed to, there's nothing for me to do, I perform all prescribed duties. If you all read Krishna book, right, there's a whole chapter on a day in the life of Krishna. You'll be surprised. Krishna getting up 2 hours before sunrise, 3 hours before sunrise. I would recommend reading it because sometimes it puts us to shame, right? God getting up at 3:30 in the morning and here I am. He gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you can see the whole schedule of his day. He goes out, he's giving charity of cows, he's meeting brahmanas, he's going to the palaces of different queens. Why is he doing it? Yagyadacharati shreshtas. Whatever the leaders will do, he says, the common man follow. So for exemplification, even in the perfected stage, he says, work you must. Correct? Now, how does he come to this verse? He said, see, if anybody in this room is on this platform, he's a self-realized soul, then he doesn't, this verse, he's beyond this verse. But at least for me and for most of us, we are still in the purificatory stage, right? Where we are performing activities in a way that those activities will be purifying to us. So Krishna, see, this is a totally scientific message that Bhagavad Gita is. It's very scientific. If we understand the flow of it. Krishna first said, perform sacrifice. Now sacrifice, there are a lot of people who sacrifice for their family, right? Some people go one step beyond, they sacrifice for society, correct? Some people sacrifice for the country. There are so many names, right? Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela. These are personalities. They made such sacrifices in their life, right? And then there are some who make global, sacrifice. Mother Teresa, her whole life was a life of sacrifice, correct? But Krishna says it's good. All that is good. All these sacrifices are good. But he wants us to come to another platform. What is best, he says? This verse. Mai sarvani karmani sannyasa. Let's stop there. Sannyas means give up. One sannyas is, of course, ashram. Sannyas means give up. The sacrifice that he said, right? Give others, give society, give your family, give the nation. That's all good. But he says the perfection of this giving, perfection of this sannyas is when he brings us to this verse, Mai, unto me. You know, this is a trend. This is the first time in Bhagavad Gita, if you study Bhagavad Gita very closely, in the first 3 chapters till now, Krishna has not used this word Mai. You know, if you see from 3 to 18, this is a fiber. Krishna is going to talk Mai, Mam, Aham, right? Me, unto me, I. To such a degree he uses this, himself, unto me, make all your offerings to me, surrender unto me, all through the Bhagavad Gita. That I know of a person, she took the Bhagavad Gita and she read it. After she read all the 18 chapters, she comes to us and she tells us, "You are Krishna Bhaktas?" I said, "No doubt." She said, How can you be Krishna Bhaktas? I said, "Why? What's the problem?" She said, "I read the whole Bhagavad Gita and my understanding is I think this Krishna person is a very egoistic person." I said, "What makes you say that?" She said, "He's all the time I. Who's an egoistic person in the material world, right? Who talks only about himself. They call him an egomaniac. Because he's too self-centered. So this lady comes out of this Bhagavad Gita saying, Krishna is very egoistic. How can you all be Krishna Bhaktas? It's not her fault. That is why, beginning only Krishna says how to understand this Bhagavad Gita. Tad vidhi paripatena pariprashnena sevaya uddekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva. You have to go to a guru. This is the position of Srila Prabhupada. How this Bhagavad Gita has become alive to us. By his mercy. So this is a trend which is starting from here, unto me. In Karma Yoga he says, Mai Sarvani Karmani. Okay, he says perfection of Karma Yoga is what? When all activities are performed as an offering to Krishna, not me. Okay? Mai. Again, when he talks about Dhyan Yoga, all the yogas, if you all go through the book very clearly, you will see everywhere Krishna. Dhyan Yoga, chapter 5. Chapter 6. He gives all the steps, what you have to do for Dhyan Yoga. Give up your house, you should be a brahmacharya. Go into the forest, you should be practicing celibacy, you should be a brahmacharya. Sit on that deer skin and kusa grass. You should be sitting straight, eyes half closed, don't close it full, you'll go to sleep, right? Now, after he does all that, what does he say? At that stage, when you are ready, what he says? Mana samyaya matta chitto. He says at that stage, when you have come here, you have to totally focus your mind, bring your mind, control it, and focus it on whom? Mat chitto. Mat means Krishna. Your chit, your whole focus should be on Krishna. Dhyan Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, right? Chapter 9, what does he say? Yat karoshi yadashnasi yadya. Everything that you do, yat tapasyasi konteya, tad kurushva madarpanam. Perfection of Bhakti Yoga is what? Everything should be done for me. Where does this culminate? Chapter 18, verse 66. Till now he was only talking of all your activities, all your tapasya, whatever you eat, whatever you austerity you perform, do it for me. Now he goes to the peak. It peaks. It's the culmination. What does he say? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam. Give up everything. Sarva dharman. Now he's literally saying whatever you have, whatever you know, everything surrender unto me. Mam ekam sharanam. It starts from here, chapter 3. Because, see, immediately if you tell a person, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. See, have you ever analyzed why did Krishna say this verse, Sarva Dharman Parityajya in chapter 3 only? Right? He could have started off saying, Arjuna, yahi hai, this is it. No. He also knows gradually. First I'll tell him, offer your activities. Then I'll tell him, offer your food. Right? Krishna is very reasonable also in a way. Immediately imagine you preach to someone and say, Chalo Sarva Dharman Parityajya. He won't come back next day to our temple. So this is the starting point. He says, Mai sarvani karmani sannyasa. Offer everything to me. How? Why? Why should I? Somebody asked, how can I offer everything to Krishna? Everything. When? In the next 3 lines he explains that. And if you'll see this verse technically, see, it's a 4-line verse, right? In this 3 lines, in the last 3 lines, he talks of 3 different qualities. The first quality he talks about is lethargy, which is in the last line. Yuddhasya vigata jwaraha. Give up lethargy. Do you know lethargy falls in which mode? It's mode of ignorance. So he says, give up mode of ignorance. Right? So once you give up mode of ignorance, then what is next? Mode of passion. He says, nirashir nirmamo bhutva. Become nirashir means no more desires. No more this sense of this is mine, I want this, I want this. I want this is what mode? Passion. So he says, give up that also. Come to the next higher platform. What is that? Mode of goodness. What is mode of goodness? Adhyatma chetasa. Knowledge of the self. So is that enough? No. He says go beyond mode of goodness. What is beyond mode of goodness? Shuddha sattva. Mai sarvani karmani. Can you imagine? This is Bhagavad Gita. If we understand these verses, in one verse, Krishna is bringing us from ignorance to Shuddha sattva. Mai sarvani karmani. Sannyasa. Give up everything. How? Let's start with Adhyatma Chetasa. I'm going to point out one genius of Srila Prabhupada over here. I don't know how many of you all know, I may have noticed it. This Adhyatma Chetasa, in the word-to-word translation, Prabhupada translates Adhyatma Chetasa as knowledge of the self. Okay? What does knowledge of the self mean? Means to know that you are not the body, you are the soul. Correct? In the translation, if you see the translation, there is nowhere mentioned knowledge of the self. In the translation, Prabhupada translates Adhyatma Chetasa as knowledge of me. Me means who? Krishna. Okay? Please note. Word-to-word translation, Prabhupada is saying Adhyatma Chetasa means me, knowledge of the self, yourself, Jivatma. In translation, Prabhupada translates Adhyatma Chetasa as knowledge of Krishna. And do you know what he does in the purport? In the purport, he combines both of them. We read the purport, right? He explains what is the constitutional position of the Jivatma in relationship to Krishna. That is the perfection of knowledge. A lot of people know, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. Is that enough? That's not enough. A lot of people know about Krishna, God, Bhagavan. They have some understanding. Is that enough? No. Prabhupada explained in the purport. You have to have knowledge of the self, knowledge of Krishna, and the relationship of the soul with Krishna. That is the perfection of knowledge, and that is Adhyatma Chetasa. Jiver Sharup Hoy Krishna Nitya Das. This is the perfection of all knowledge. Till a person doesn't come to this platform, he cannot do Mai Sarvani Karmani, no? Right? Why would you do? If you only have knowledge of yourself, you don't have knowledge of Krishna, will you sacrifice all activities to Krishna? No. You have to have both this. My relationship with Krishna. Once you understand that, then Mai Sarvani Karmani becomes possible. Making sense to everybody? Adhyatma Chetasa. Krishna says with full knowledge of me. Because if you don't have this full knowledge, you have some in some bits and pieces, or you have some abstract understanding. Some people make sacrifice to the Lord in some, you could make it grudgingly, you could make the sacrifice because for whatever reason. Like I'll give you an example. You know, people are very intelligent. They come to the Lord for so many things. So there was this person. He was trying to sell his house. And somehow it wasn't selling, he wasn't getting a good price. So he comes in front of the Lord. My Lord, please, somehow this house should sell, I should get a good price. And he makes a deal. He tells my Lord, Krishna, if my house sells, whatever it fetches, half is yours. Now Krishna is always smiling, but that day he noticed the smile. Sometimes we come, we do darshan, but we don't see the smile of Krishna. That day he saw the smile of Krishna, so he thought, done. Krishna is happy. Okay. So he went back home, and lo and behold, within few days, his house was valued at 200,000, he's getting quotes for 400,000. Then this person started thinking, 400,000? Money kya? What does that mean? I have to give Krishna 200,000. That's too much. That's too much money. Right? So he was intelligent, right? Today's people are very intelligent, right? So he came up with a condition. He said, look, whoever buys this house is valued at $1,000. But there's a condition. With the house, you have to buy my cat also. And the cat is worth 399,900 and I don't know whatever is the mathematics you all can do. Now who's buying the house? He said, who cares? I'll take the cat. Anyway, I have to give 400,000, right? Here he comes in front of Krishna. Krishna, the house sold at $1,000. Here's your 500. Fair deal, right? Mai sarvani karmani. He'll say, Mai sarvani karmani. See, whatever I do, I give Krishna. You are not adhyatma chetasa. Making sense? That is why Krishna says, with full knowledge of me. And then, what does he say in third thing? When you have full knowledge, then when you will be performing this Mai sarvani karmani, then the third thing, nirashir and nirmama, will automatically happen. Nira means, you won't have any independent desires. And this whole sense of, proprietorship, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, it won't be there, correct? Because now you understand who's the real proprietor. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam, sarva loka maheswaram. He's sarva lok, he's the master, the lord of everything. So, what is mine? This will automatically go away. But unless that's not there, what happens? We are not ready to give Krishna. We are not ready to give Krishna when on our own, what to talk of voluntarily, even when Krishna comes and asks us directly, we are not ready to give. So sad. Example, Bhagavad Gita, not Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Duryodhana. Can you imagine Bhagavan, Krishna standing in front of you and literally requesting you, Duryodhana, give these Pandavas 5 villages. Don't fight these wars, it's not worth it. Right? What a deal, isn't it a deal? 5 villages you give away, everything else is yours, you enjoy. He was not Adhyatma Chetasa. What does he tell Duryodhana? What does he tell Krishna? I'm not going to give land measuring the tip of a needle also. What are you talking of 5 villages? Right? In Bhagavatam, pastime comes of King Satyajit. He had this jewel. This jewel would, give gold. It would manufacture gold literally every day, some 100 or thousands of kilos. So when Krishna got to know, of course Krishna knows everything, he goes and approaches this king. He says, look, I think this jewel now you should give it to me. Not for myself, that also I'm going to give it to the king, Shursen, so that he can use the wealth for the Janta. What does Satyajit say? This jewel is mine. I'm not giving you. And we know the whole episode, right? What happens after that? Not ready to give. Mine. And you will not be able to give unless you don't have this understanding. That is what Krishna is saying. This Mai Sarvani Karmani won't come. It won't happen. Unless you don't have this knowledge. Now some of us might be thinking, yes, this pastime of Duryodhana was very demonic. He was not ready to give Krishna. And yes, Satyajit came. It's very nice hearing all this, but do we do an introspective? how does this principle apply to us? And I'll share with you all, I hate to use this word us also. When you use the word us means what? You tend to look at everybody. Us. Us. And you tend to single out yourself. Don't use the word us. Me. Personalize yourself. How much does this principle apply to me? How much am I ready to sacrifice for Krishna? Now, it does not necessarily always mean money. Right? I'm not giving a fundraising class or something, please. It could be in terms of time, energy, resources. If you're a good cook, ready to cook for Krishna, you're a good musician, sing for Krishna, in whatever way. How much sacrifice am I making? Is it making sense? So at the end of the day, we must apply all this to me personally. Bhagavad Gita was spoken for Arjuna and Bhagavad Gita was spoken for each one of us. So we have to understand these principles on an individual basis for me. How much this me and mine is still prevalent in my life? How much sacrifice am I ready to make for Krishna? Am I making? And then the last line, what does he say? Yuddhasya, Yuddhasta Vigata Jara. Fight! Now, please don't take back the message outside the room. You will say, see, Krishna said in the class, Prabhuji also said, fight. So for Prasadam, we'll see everybody is fighting. I come first. Krishna is telling Arjuna to fight because that's his duty. He is a Kshatriya. Nobody in this room is a Kshatriya, I hope. He's saying, perform your duty. If you're a Grasta, perform your duty. If you're a housewife, do what you're supposed to do. You're a IT professional, do what you do. How? Giving up lethargy. Why is Krishna calling Arjuna lazy? Lethargy means laziness, right? Can you imagine Arjuna being called lazy? I'll give you one incident in the life of Arjuna by which you all will understand Arjuna could never be lazy. See in the Mahabharata. It is explained Arjuna, all the Pandavas and Kauravas were going to Dronacharya, for training in martial arts, archery, everything. It is explained every day Dronacharya would teach everybody, all the students, from sunrise to sunset. Sunset, chutti, go home. Everybody goes home. It is explained Arjuna, after that, after school is over, till next day morning he would not sleep. Do you know why he would not sleep? He would practice everything that Dronacharya taught from sunrise to sunset. Next day morning test, 10 on 10. Dronacharya would wonder, what is this guy? Then later he got to realize Arjuna doesn't sleep. All night practicing perfection. So, is it that Krishna doesn't know this? Krishna, sorry, you're making a mistake. Arjuna is not lazy. Krishna knows everything. Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you are lazy. He's not talking of material laziness. He's talking of spiritual laziness. What does laziness mean? See, if I have my son, his room is dirty and I tell him, Lakshman, clean the room. Oh, I'm too tired. Whenever I tell him to do something, he's tired, he's sleepy about it. Then I tell him, Lakshman, you're becoming lazy. Right? Laziness means what? When you are expected, you are being asked to do something and you don't want to do. Arjuna is being asked by Krishna, fight, kill these warriors. Arjuna is giving so many reasons. Lakshman has his reasons for not cleaning the room. Arjuna has his reasons for not fighting the war. Krishna said, you are lazy. Spiritual laziness. How does that apply to us? If we analyze in our lives, in our material lives, we are so enthusiastic. We don't let laziness creep into our lives, right? IT professionals, if the phone rings at 11:45, there's this problem. At 11:50, we are already logged in and we do everything, right? How enthusiastic we are in our material lives. And when it comes to spiritual life, should I share something with you all? We have, sometimes we have special guests come into Atlanta, or we have our regular teaching programs of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and all. So we have to send out mails to everybody, right? This Saturday, 5:30, there's a program, kindly attend. We have to literally humbly request them. I have to add that we humbly request all devotees to kindly participate, right? And you know what is the last line we have to quote? Please RSVP your participation. Now, let's try to analyze. All of us work in offices, correct? We go from Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 7 to 4 or whatever it is. How many of us RSVP every day to our managers? Manager, I am coming tomorrow. Please raise your hands. Nobody, right? It's by default. The manager knows I have 200 people, they're all going to come tomorrow at 9 o'clock and 5 o'clock they're going to be there, right or no? Rather, we RSVP only when the day we are not coming. We call in sick or whatever it is. But when it comes to spirituality, please make a note of this. We will RSVP, RSVP has 3 options. Yes, no, and what is the middle one? That is the safe one. If you say yes and you don't go, then Prabhuji will get upset. And no, then also he'll say, this Mataji is not coming only for program. Maybe go. So do we analyze why? Because that enthusiasm is not there. This is spiritual laziness. Opposite of laziness is enthusiasm, right? That is why what does Rupa Goswami say? Utsaha, first principle of spiritual life, he says, is you must be enthusiastic. Because if you are not enthusiastic, gradually your, whatever little bit of enthusiasm this you have, it will die out. Stagnant water, right? If water is stagnant, it gets fungus. It gets polluted. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, Krishna is telling us, give up this spiritual laziness. From years we have been hearing from Vaishnavas, from Srila Prabhupada, become more serious in your Krishna. I'm still struggling to become serious in my Krishna consciousness. How many times do we do an introspective? How much has Krishna become a reality in my life? Do we ever sit and think? Or is still Krishna, just a name or an abstract? Yes, Krishna, he is God, Bhagavan somewhere doing something. Let him do his bit, I'll do my bit. Right? There are philosophies, they say, why do you disturb God every day, morning, afternoon? Let him do his business and you do your business. Lack of enthusiasm is very dangerous for spiritual life. We must be enthusiastic. And in 1 minute I'm going to end. The personification of this verse, if we want to see this in any one individual, we can see it in the life of Srila Prabhupada. Mai sarvani karmani, see, if you all know Prabhupada, of course we know he's from the spiritual world, but in his material world Leela, in his first half of his life, you all know who was Prabhupada, what he was attracted to? He was a nationalist. Imagine he wanted to fight for the country. He was making so many sacrifices. He sacrificed his degree. Do you know? He didn't take his degree. I don't want it. Against the British. So he was sacrificing first also as a nationalist. Till when? Till he came in contact with whom? With his spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who explained what to him? Mai sarvani karmani. This is all nonsense. What? Fighting for country will become independent, this is all nonsense. All activities must be as a sacrifice for Krishna. Prabhupada got the message. What sacrifice? He sacrificed, he had a business, he sacrificed it. He sacrificed his family. He was living so comfortably in Vrindavan, correct? He sacrificed that comfort also. He came to the West. Why? To give us. And he was Adhyatma. He had perfect understanding of Krishna. Nothing for himself. And laziness, he was, he used to just sleep for 2-3 hours in a day, and that also he used to condemn. He used to say, what to do, for the sake of my body, I have to sleep 2 or 3 hours. Because he used to think it's a waste, I can't waste time. So Prabhupada is a personification of this verse that we are reading. Mai sarvani karmani. So if we take shelter of such a personality, otherwise it's very difficult. It sounds very easy to come to this. No, it's very difficult. when we take shelter, when we surrender to such a personality, by His grace, by His mercy, we can come to this platform of Mai Sarvani Karmani. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. So it's 5 or 10 minutes past my time. As usual, it's a protocol. I'm just waiting when I'll be thrown out of the schedule for that week. So what I recommend is, if anybody has any questions or comments, I'll be around in the temple room. If you have questions, we have seniors like His Grace Balgadhar Prabhu, Charudeshna Prabhu. Please approach them. They'll be able to answer your questions. I'll also be around. And if you have any comments, if whatever I discussed, there were some things, please, I'll be around in the temple room to talk to you. Srila Prabhupada ki.
If we could all please raise both our hands. We're going to pray to their lordships, Shri Gauranitai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi and Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan for Sunil Chandra Nath. Together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Parents of your father, Manya Pulachaya Das. So we're going to pray for Manya Pulachaya Das, that he is well situated in the service to the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. If we could all please raise all your four hands and pray to their lordships, Shri Shri Gauranitai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi and Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan. Together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So Nala, is that her name? I just want to make sure I pronounce it correctly. So Leela, you have to come here. She turns 10 today. 9. I was told 10. I'm not repeating what my paper says. So she turns 9. She corrected me. So Leela is very well versed in the Vedas. So she's going to tell us a very beautiful shloka from where, Leela? Bhagavad Gita? She's gonna recite a shloka from the Sunday school. So are you all ready for it?
Yeah. Go.
Samoham sarva bhuteshu ramedeshastina priya edvajanti mam bhaktina vedeshasya.
So that was very beautiful. I asked her if she knew the English, but I think she got stage fright. So we're very happy to celebrate the 9th birthday of Leela, Sojanya. So we're going to sing happy birthday to Leela. Are we ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Leela. Happy birthday to you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare So Leela, do you want any special prayer request to all the devotees? One opportunity you have. Any special prayers, Leela? You want to have more cakes? Any special prayers? She needs to get a confirmation from her mother. So we're going to pray that Leela continues on her spiritual journey. What blessings do you want, Leela? Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So now I would like to request Supratik Devnath of the teenage years. And he wanted to make sure that he wasn't here for this embarrassment. So he sent his representatives. He sent his father and his mother. They are very long-time, staunch supporters of this temple. Sudhir Devnath is a very busy man, but he's always accessible when we need him for all our travel agency work related to the temple and the devotees related to the temple. So we are very happy to celebrate Supratik Devnath. Since he's not here, I think he's watching. Is he watching online? So he is watching somewhere. So we're going to sing happy birthday to Supratik Devnath. Is that cool? I don't think that was cool. Was it cool? Should we do it? Let's do it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Supratik Devnath. Happy birthday to you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So on behalf of Supratik Devnath, his mother and father wants us to pray that he remains a good boy. So I'm guessing that he is a good boy now. That he remains a good boy and he continues with his education. And hopefully, throughout his journey, he will remain a devotee of Krishna. So if we could all please raise all the four arms, as invisible two arms, and pray to their lordships, Shri Gaur Nitai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi, and Shri Radha Madan Mohan. Together.